Where did you find it, firstly?
Well, it took me 2 years of inquiries, and after much asking around, of course, I met a guy in a hangar one day, and he was a bit of a gruffy old fellow, and I kept at him, and in the finish he threw his spanner down, and he said, well, are you fair dingo about this? He said, well, come with me. I put me onto a fellow, and of course, it's eventuated.
So the following weekend, myself, and I took Barb, I was going out with Barbara at the time, and we went to Jewellery. We had a look at it, and I bought it.
Well, what sort of condition was it in then?
Well, of course, it was a pretty sorry state mechanically, and we kept it there for 3 years, and 6 months work, and 2.5 years of finding enough spare parts and books on the type, and we had the thing ready and flew it down.
We had to put it together up there, which we did over the next 3 years, and it was 1973 when we flew it out down to Essendon Airport. We formed a crew, as people came and gave me a hand once they knew I had it, and people were very good to me and supported me. And when we brought it into Essendon, we had to put it into the hangar there and put it through sort of semi-certification. So that took 3 years to go through it again and clean it all up and get it done properly. In 1976, we flew it from that point on.
Bravo, it appears as if your right gear door is partially extended, but it does extend below the intake, and it'll be the first thing to contact the ground on landing. The left gear appears to be completely closed.
Landing gear failure has actually led to an emergency touchdown at a Victorian airbase. The World War II Mustang came down for a perfect belly landing just before 1 o'clock.
Well, yes, unfortunately, one of the castings on the aeroplane let us down because it was made of magnesium, and it was passed by the manufacturer, but in actual fact there was a fault in it. We're lucky that last time John Dord actually saved the aeroplane from putting it down, yes. When he belly landed, did such a good job. I was saying a prayer as it came over the fence, I can tell you that. I wasn't worried about the aeroplane, I was worried about the people on board, I can tell you that.
Well, after the accident, Willie and I spent a bit of time by ourselves just down at the hangar, and we looked around the aeroplane, and we were originally going to do the aeroplane in modules, where we were going to bring the engine bay, we were going to do the wings, and then we're going to do the interior and things like that. I said, well, let's just pull it to bits and do the whole thing at once. It'll be easier. And go from there. So no, we agreed on an approach, and we of course wanted to get the aeroplane back to as original as possible and with a modern twist.
I think initially the decision that was made to overhaul the aeroplane was the right one. It had been a long time in the air, had a lot of TLC, a lot of things fixed in those years, but as everybody knows, it had never been totally rebuilt and refreshed, and that was the ideal opportunity to do it.
Well, separating or getting the aeroplane disassembled itself, the aeroplane had never been apart since the factory, and really uncovering what was inside the aircraft and what we were faced against. And we were very surprised and pleased that the condition of the aeroplane was spectacular, and there was only some obvious damage, which were external components, but the core structure of the wings and fuselage was very good, and the obvious with the propeller and engine was always going to be an inherent project alone. So my role in the rebuild was at the very start to analyse what we needed to do and come up with the size and scope with Dad. How far do we go? What do we want to do? And what do we want to get to at the end? And then make it happen.
My role in the rebuild, it didn't start off as much. It was more paint stripping and cleaning and what have you, because I was only 8. But as it progressed, I started to do more and more, and Robbie teaching me and all the other boys, so just got more involved.
My role in the rebuild was predominantly to do with the avionics installation and the rewiring, and overhaul of most of the components, electrical components, and the instrumentation.
Many things, from picking it up when it came down on its belly to finally getting to see it fly at the end.
My role in the rebuild, not as much as the other guys actually. being involved in the Mustang away from BOB. My time was pretty well taken up with that. But in the latter stages, I got involved with duplicate inspections, helping assemble the engine, double checking on a few things, and doing things that were required.
We didn't have a timeline as such, but we wanted a finished look and we wanted to do it right. So each milestone in the restoration was very important, as we saw it as a small win. So doing a project as large as this, it's very easy to get overwhelmed by the size and the complexity of it. So we did it in modules to give ourselves little wins where we kept our enthusiasm going, and we could sit back and enjoy the fruits at the end of each module.
Some of the highlights of the rebuild were, for me, the day we mated the wing to the fuselage.
Go back. You leave me, Pete? Let's get this.
Holy crap, look how big it is.
Alright.
It's just grown some balls. Wow. Long time coming.
Highlight for me would be the engine, because it was fun, it was something different. Being able to run it.
I enjoyed working around the engine and seeing the engine run. That's a bit of a highlight for me.
There was plenty of challenges, but they're only merely a challenge.
I mean, of course, no one was to foresee the issues with having to move off the base, difficulty in getting parts, Bob's illness, the need to set up another workshop elsewhere, and a whole stack of things.
With some, good heads screwed on our shoulders, we would workshop each problem and figure it out, and quite often or not, we'd all sleep on it, and by the morning we'd have a resolution, whether it be for myself or Pete, Paulie, or Dave, or Kevin, or Lindsay, Mr. Beale with the sheet metal, or Georgie, and Johnny Von too. He would come up with a solution and we'd work it out. So within a sleep period and some time and a few beers and pizza, we would always workshop the problem and have a solution by the morning.
Well, I mean, Rob's a bit of a slave driver, so that's pretty hard. And no, he's not. No, he's a very good boss. He lets us go home early sometimes, and the crew are great. I've been with them for many years. So.
The crew, they're like family to me.
Well, those group of people have become some of my dearest friends over the years. And something, not only have we had more to do than just the Mustang, we socialised together and just become very good friends.
They meant a great deal to me. Our family growing up was a smallish family. We didn't have a great deal of second cousins and everything, but every weekend I got to hang out with these guys, and they were all mentors to me, people I looked up to and still look up to this day. And I've been very blessed to have a lot of significant role models in my life, whether it be from a young fella all the way up to now as an older lad. But I still have all those people around me today.
Well, I think it's a lifelong association with all those that have been involved.
It was also the ultimate men's shed, where we could get together with a group of mates with like interests and just hang about and enjoy each other's company.
Many good times, many great memories, going to the air shows, working on aeroplane together, achieving results, watching our families grow up and to be associated with the aeroplane. All in all, fantastic memories.
Well, it's like family. I mean, the The Eastgates are family to me, and certainly the Carbodies and all those other people that are around the place, they're all family. It's good.
I suppose during the years we've worked on this aeroplane, its potential is a lot more than that. Public interest has been tremendous. The interest in the within the aviation industry itself has been enormous, and we hope to actually start up a little air flying troupe, if possible, and show this to the people of Australia.
And a lot of people just come and joined in, and they were keen, you know, and they gave a hand. It was just fantastic. And they still with me today. That's one of the things that one of the enjoyments we get out of it is the association with our support crew and our friends. It's been fantastic. We've got a lot out of it, you know. It's opened a lot of doors and we've made a lot of friends.
Dad would have been over the moon, and the whole day I felt very much his presence with us. And I know he would have been looking down on us with great pleasure, and he would have been so proud of us all. So
the day of the first flight was very emotional. We're all out on the tarmac, or the immediate crew, we're all out there.
We wanted to be a low-key event. It turned out to be something quite large, so we thought there might be 6 of us there, and there was like 60, 70 people there. So
yeah, we were nervous, but we knew it was going to be all right. Quite excited in the end.
While I was nervous slightly, I wasn't worried about the aeroplane as such. I was more worried about making sure everything was good. And when you put your friends and family into these things after such a heavy rebuild, you want to make sure that they're right. And I knew it was, but we had to prove it. It was purely a completion of a function. At the end of the job, we had to prove the aeroplane for flight.
VH-BOB, first flight after 15 years.
Seeing it lift off for the first time was just awesome. So, best day of my life.
I think everybody was euphoric. Fantastic achievement.
Seeing the look on Rob's face that day was probably all worth the while.
I wouldn't want to do this with anyone else, because doing what we do is very stressful in some ways, and if you didn't have a great bunch of people around you, you wouldn't do it. And to be honest, the people make it fun. And I'm so glad to have everyone here tonight, from way back at the start to where we are now, to celebrate the completion of the rebuild and to start the new chapter and get back into having fun again.
Finally, I just like to thank everyone for helping us. It's been more than just us. It's been a team of people far and wide. And finally, Robbo, you're a good man. All the best.
Let the flying begin.